We're going to be completing the last two flaps in this video. They both will go pretty quickly though. A Pythagorean triple is a set of whole numbers that makes a squared plus b squared equals c squared true. And the most common triples are these four. These are the ones you will mainly see in my class. I don't think you'll see any others besides these. And also multiples of these are also triples, so multiples. And that means, like, if you were to multiply 3, 4, and 5, all of them by 2, you would get 6, 8, and 10, and that is still a triple. And all that means is that 3 squared plus 4 squared does equal 5 squared. It works out whenever you solve it. You can, of course, try to solve it yourself and justify that. I'm not going to do it in this video, but it does work. Use Pythagorean triples to find the missing side of the triangle. The very first one up there was 3, and then the middle one was 4, and it's 5. And then we want to come up and look for 15, 17. 15 and 17, the beginning one is 8. So this is 8. And if you can factor something out, try to do that. So the greatest common factor of 6 and 8 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that's another 3, 4, 5. So we're going to multiply 5 times 2, which gives us 10. So 6, 8, 10 is that triple. There's no number that goes into 5 and 12. So let's see. 5 and 12. My last number is 13. So that goes into 24 and 26 is 2. So divide it by 2. This gives me 12. This gives me 13. So 12 and 13, that means my first term is 5. Multiply it times 2. And it's 10, 24, and 26. Something that'll go on both 15 and 25 is 5. So divide it by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So that means my middle term would have been 4, because that's my 3, 4, 5 triple. Multiply 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. Numbers that go into 14 and 48 are 2, so divide it by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 48 divided by 2 is 24. So let's find the triple that's 7 and 24. 7, 24, and 25. So this one's 25. We need to multiply it times 2, and it'll be 50. Numbers that go into 30 and 34, let's divide it by 2. This is 15. This is 17. So let's try to find 15, 17. That means my first term would be 8. And multiply it times 2 to give us 16. 9 and 12, 3 goes in each of those. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4, so that's another 3, 4, 5 triple. Multiply the 5 times 3 to give us 15 for that one. So that's kind of how you have to think of triples. Really, you need to memorize these 4 if you can. It will make solving problems a whole lot easier, because then you won't have to do the Pythagorean theorem. You already know what that last term is. So if I gave you a triangle, and this was 3 and this is 4, you wouldn't have to do, well, what's 3 squared plus 4 squared? That gives me 9 plus 16. 9 plus 16 is 25. Take the square root, and it's 5. You wouldn't have to do all that. As long as you solve this 3 and 4, you know this third term is 5, and you could move on to the next problem. So it will really help you if you memorize these 4. You could always do the Pythagorean theorem if you don't, though. Just take you longer. Alright, next flap. The way we get the Pythagorean theorem is by using areas of squares drawn on each side of a right triangle. the area of the smaller two squares is equal to the area of the largest or larger square. Excuse me. Use this to answer the following questions. So all that means is that, Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That means that this is a, this is b, and this is c. So area of a square, if this is a, of course this is a. And that means that my area of this square is a squared. If this is b, this side of my square is b, so the area of this square is b squared. If this is c, then this is c, and the area of this square is c squared. So if you add these two areas together, it would give me this whole area. So Pythagorean theorem done in area models is actually a lot easier, and you'll see why in a minute. You don't have to do square roots and stuff like that, because you just, after you find these two areas, you just add them together and it'll give you this third one. So let's try some problems with that. Okay, so if this side is 4, that means this side is 4. 4 squared is 16. If this side is 3, that means this side is 3. 3 squared is 9. So to get the area of this one, all we have to do is add these two numbers together, and that's 25. Now we're done. So much easier than Pythagorean theorem. And like I showed you on this one, these two areas added together give you this area. So if these two added together gives you this area, to find this one, we just subtract 25 from 169. So 169 minus 25 is 144. So this area is 144. And we are done with our foldable. If you guys have any questions, remember to write them down so that you remember to ask them in class whenever I ask you guys if you have any questions over the video.